Hello, hello, and welcome to today's episode of Saddest Night Out. My name is Roy, and I am the host of this daily podcast, which is primarily about music and creative culture in London. Today's episode was recorded in the basement of the Nelsons. I was back there again, but this time with a new guest. Her name is Hayley Solas. She was one of many incredible performers that I had at last night's open mic. We're at the Nelsons in Hoxton every Thursday, right near Columbia Road, which I have recently learned has a very popular, I think, flower market, or just market in general. But the talent we had last night was insane. We had 17 people take the stage, or actually 18, because one person came with a drummer. Hayley played fairly early in the evening, and her music is a bit quieter. And it's always a sign of a good performer and good music if you can play something quiet and the room just quietens down for you without you having to say anything. And that's exactly the kind of gravitas that Hayley has on stage. And I mentioned during the night that if anyone sticks around till the end, I mentioned I have a podcast, and I said if anyone sticks around till the end, I will have a chat with them for the podcast. And Hayley, bless her, she did exactly that. She said she was sticking around anyway because she likes to watch all of the other performers, but I was particularly grateful that she stayed till the end. So once I had finished with all the performers and packed up most of my stuff, we headed downstairs to the quickly becoming infamous basement of the Nelsons. I kind of repeatedly told her I'm not going to kill her because I realized how weird it must sound for me to say, come and follow me into the basement. But thankfully she obliged, and we had a fantastic chat about where she's come from and her history with making music, with a sidestep into Tumblr, as most things end up doing. So this is me talking to Hayley Solas, and I will catch up with you a bit more afterwards. Enjoy. Okay, it's Thursday night. I am back in the basement of the Nelsons, but I have a different guest with me and another newcomer to the Saddest Night Out podcast. What's your name, please?
My name is Hayley Solas.
How long have you been performing music in London?
Well, I actually only moved to London about 3 months ago. So,
where did you move from?
I moved from a place called Kildare. It's just outside of Dublin in Ireland.
Right.
Nobody really knows where it is.
I don't either.
Yeah, there's a really beautiful song about Kildare. And that's about it. And we've lots of grass.
Until now. Now you're putting Kildare on the map.
Yeah, now I'm putting it on the map. And so did Christy Moore, the most amazing musician. He'll never hear this podcast, but if you're listening, Christy Moore, if you're listening, I love you. He lives up the road from me, actually.
Huh.
It's quite creepy now that I'm talking about him.
Kildare's taking over London, one person at a time.
Yeah, it's the home of Saint Bridget. Yeah, the patron saint of Kildare.
Tip myself off,
I mean, everybody should know.
So is Kildare like born and bred? Is that home for you?
Yeah, well, I'm from Kildare, and then before I moved here, I was living in Dublin for a couple of years, but now London is my home.
Why London?
Because you're here, Roy.
Of course, word go around. I get this every time. If I could tell you how many podcasts.
I mean, obviously. Why else would I live here? Don't be stupid. Come on.
Are you looking to literally be here from now on, or do you tend to get itchy feet and want to move on to somewhere else?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a nomad.
Okay, so how long do you think you'll be here from now?
I don't know. I think that's the nicest thing about being here. You just don't know what's going to happen. You never know
how long you might stay and what might happen, where it might take you.
I just knew that I wanted to be here for ages. And the timing was right. So, but everybody's been so welcoming.
Sometimes London can do that. Sometimes not so much. But I'm glad that's very much been
90% of everybody that I've met are the most welcoming, lovely people I've ever met.
So, are you making music back in Kildare as well? Then?
Yeah, I kind of mainly started off doing like spoken word and poetry.
Okay.
In terms of writing music, and then it turned into making my own. I'm from a theatre background. So
the stage came first. No,
yes.
The theatrical stage came first. Was it a long time until you started performing music? Because I imagine if you were acting, maybe you started writing and performing what you'd written. When did playing an instrument along with it come into the picture?
Well, I remember writing my first song when I was about 5.
Oh, okay.
And it's my stepdad's favourite song.
Aww.
It is quite cute. That's a really vivid memory, and I remember it goes something like, up in the mountains high, I can say goodbye with my echo. And he thought that was the best tune he's ever heard.
At 5 years old, he came up with that?
5. I know, Roy. I'm amazing. I'm a virtuoso.
Jesus.
He thought that was the best song ever. And he still sings it now. And now that I'm like, you know, I've like been writing music properly, I feel like that should be like a worldwide hit. I feel like
I think you peaked at 5 years old, if I'm going to be honest.
I peaked, yeah.
That's pretty gold right there.
Yeah, I definitely peaked when I'm 5. It's been slowly going downhill now for like 2 decades.
So 5 years old, you're already making music in some capacity.
In some capacity.
Were you making music constantly since then, or was there a break and then you got back to it?
No, it was more theatre, to be honest. And I've always written poetry, but it was funny because I always thought that I would write a play, and I was always very frustrated that I couldn't put like what I was feeling into a play, and anytime I'd write a lot of prose, you see, and anytime I'd have anything happen, or I'd write it down, and a couple of my friends or writer friends, they'd be like, oh, you should write a play, and I'd be like, yeah, I will. Yes, and they're like, that's a play. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna, yes, 100%, yeah. I'm working, and I started writing a play one time, and it was so bad. It just wasn't good. It just was not good, and I was so frustrated. And it wasn't writer's block. It just genuinely wasn't
good.
And I was like, why am I so frustrated? I'm such an artist. I'm creative. Why can't I get this out? And then when I started writing poetry, I was like, okay.
That clicked.
And it just happened naturally. And then I've always been a singer, but until I started writing poetry, it didn't make sense to me that I could put the two together. Okay. You know?
So was there a specific eureka moment where you performed your first song and thought, this is what I should be doing?
There wasn't really a eureka moment. It was just more a eureka moment for myself. You know, it's not really performing, because I've always performed on stage, but... So
it was when you just for yourself sang you sing a poem and then think,
yeah,
that sounds awesome.
That's kind of what happened. And not even that sounds awesome, but it just felt right. And I was like, oh, right, that's what that is, you know?
So since then, has there been a big build-up of material, of songs that you've been writing?
There has, yeah. Surprisingly, I've been knocking them out, Roy.
So when it was a play, it was like, but when it's songs, it's like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, that's exactly what
5-year-old you would have told you, look, this is what you should be doing. I had it straight away at the start.
I know, and I actually went to a psychic one time, and she never told me that, and I've never forgiven her. I'm like,
they're to blame.
Yeah, it's like Irish mysticism. I'm like, how dare she? She should know everything about my life. Why didn't she tell me? Life has been so hard up until now. But she never told me, and I had to figure it out for myself.
Well, I'm glad you did, because you've been fantastic the times that you've been here.
Thank you very much.
Can I ask though?
Yes.
Because one of my favourite bands of recent years is Fontaines DC, who I believe are from Dublin and are also of a literary background. Mm-hmm. What is it that gets you into the written word? Is it just much more of the pop culture over there, that people are more into plays and novels and that type of thing? Because it doesn't feel that much of an influence on this side of things, but it seems like over there in Ireland.
Do you think it's not really an influence here?
I think it is, but it's not like the first thing on most people's lips. Whereas just talking to you said that's where you started. And I was like, and it just made me think of that one band in particular who said they started by being really into poetry and James Joyce and things like that, and then brought it into music. I'm just curious, is there any, at school, is poetry and literature much more of a mainstay or something? Yeah,
I honestly think so. I think it's kind of a unspoken common knowledge, really. I'm glad you referenced Fontaines DC, because they're blowing it up at the minute, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
They're really amazing.
I went to a show of theirs where they headlined, and I interviewed one of the bands that supported them, but I couldn't stick around for them. I was like, they sound kind of good.
Who was it?
It was Fur and Talk Show, and they played at Birthdays, which used to be just down the road from here. And then Fontaines really blew up, and I was like, Wait, didn't I? I did see them. Damn it! Why didn't I stick around?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a very big fan of theirs. It's interesting to hear you mention that writing, not music, but writing was the first thing you did, and then you brought it to music.
That's it, because their lyrics, I find, are just so beautiful.
Yeah.
They're obviously more of a punk sound. There's a big punk scene in Dublin, and there always has been. It's just very underground, and if you're there, you'd know. But it's just a shame that it is underground and not more people know about it. Like the likes of the Radiators or Stano, or there's just so many good punk artists. But I think the storytelling comes from that, just really saying what you feel, and we're quite good at that, being colloquial in our writing, in our poetry. Obviously people like Joyce and Yeats, they've influenced us a lot, and obviously people know who Joyce and Yeats are, but there's also a huge hip-hop scene in Dublin, spoken word and rap. Again,
that's a surprise.
It's quite underground. It is. If people say that, they say it's quite surprising, but there's such a huge hip-hop scene in Dublin, and really all of Ireland, actually.
So people need to pay more attention.
People need to pay more attention, and the people who are writing this music, they're poets, and it's amazing. And it's the colloquialism, it's the stories from the island, and it's people just telling stories about their lives. And Irish people have always been storytellers. We just love to talk. Like right now, I'm just like blah blah blah. Listen to me.
Doing the same thing. It's been 20 minutes.
Yeah. 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes.
So now that you are putting your words to music and you are performing, is there stuff that people can find online? For those that haven't physically been here at the Nelsons to hear you perform, can they find you online? Can they find your music online at all?
Yes. If they close their eyes and dream, and from telepathy, we'll connect. No, you can find me on all of the social medias, because I social media, you see.
Of course.
Who doesn't? Because I'm young and I'm a millennial and I do the social media.
Exactly.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook. You can find me on, what else am I on? Oh Jesus, what am I on?
Is there anything on Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube?
I'm on SoundCloud, yeah. Spotify, not yet. I'm working on it. Okay. Stay tuned.
Working on a song, a batch of songs?
I'm working on an EP.
Okay.
I have a collection of songs, yeah. A very select selection.
Is this drawing from like a collection of songs that go way back, and now you're just cherry picking the ones you like most? Is it stuff you've written more recently?
There's a bit of both, really. There's a couple of oldies. There's a couple of old ones that I've reinvented, and there's a couple of brand new ones really that I've written since moving here, which is very exciting. I think I enjoy singing those the most because they're brand new to me, and I'm like, listen to me, listen to my words.
So the stuff that you perform here, how recent is that? Like the song that you performed tonight, or is the second song? That was the original one.
Well, the song that I sang tonight was, I mentioned earlier on, it was from a poem that I wrote about a year ago now. So it was adapted from that poem and turned it into a song. But it was around the time when Ireland was facing the abortion referendum, and there was a lot of unrest, especially obviously among women, and it was a really emotional time. I think everybody felt it, even though they didn't know what to say or how to express it. It was just there was a lot of grief, and it was inspired really by women. For me anyways, the poem was inspired by women and just kind of how strong women can be, and then I just recently turned it into a song. Because I left it there for ages. It was like, one of those things where I left it alone. It was perfect the way it was, and then I don't know what made me go back to it and kind of revive it and go, right, this needs to be a song. Because I was like, oh, it's just a poem. At one stage in my life, I had a Tumblr page,
Okay.
I feel like I shouldn't say the name of the page in case people look it up, but I will. I'm going to delete it later before anybody hears this. But the Tumblr page was called Shit Poems That Will Never Be Songs.
Oh.
And it was just a collection of
was this one
a
of them?
lot of, and it was on there. But I'm very proud of it. It was at the time I was like, you know what, this one isn't so shit. this one's very meaningful. But yeah, there you go. My deepest, darkest secret.
Yes, success. That's what it was all about. I knew you had a Tumblr.
I knew you knew. Oh my god.
Hayley, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank
you for playing tonight as well. And I look forward to the next one. So, Hayley, is it like a shit poems that are going to be songs on Instagram?
No. Do not search. It's getting deleted. It's Hayley Solas. So Hayley Solas. And Solas actually means light in the Irish language.
Oh.
Yeah. You made an aww face.
Oh, nice. That's so poetic. It's a poetic ending.
Oh, stop it. You hang up.
Alright, Hayley, I'll catch you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Roy, for having me.
And that was that. Thank you so much, Hayley, for your time. You're a gifted speaker. This episode could have been 2 hours long, just the two of us talking. It was a great time, and you were a fantastic performance as well. Thank you very much. And you can find her on Instagram as one word. One sec, excuse the clicking while I'm just going through stuff on my phone. Hayley Solas Music. So that's HayleySolasMusic, all as one word. And you will find her on Instagram at least. And yeah, do keep an eye out for Shitty Poems That Will Never Be Songs, the album. I'm calling it now. It might... title is subject to change. We'll see. And I'll also want to give a quick mention to some of the other performers that we had last night, because the talent was truly extraordinary. Thank you very much to Ben and Gracie and Jax, not Jazz, Jax, who were the kind people working the bar and hosting us last night, and Johnny at the kitchen as well. Last night's performers included Shane Joseph, Imran Khan, BB Horton, Citron, Panopoulos, Hayley Solas, James Crowley, Dan Mells, Mayora Native, Moon Williams, Shannon Connolly, Nicole Shade, the SFTCC, Lou, Kin, James Hoyle, and Jode Gannon. I made a joke, which might be my funniest moment ever at an open mic, halfway through, where I said, look, this is a very important, basically, customer service announcement. At some point, someone in this room is going to cut $1 million check. And all I'm asking is that you remember your old friend Roy, okay? You see how Ed Sheeran is eating. You see how Adele is eating. I just want a little slice of that, okay? When you win the Grammy, I just want to be one of the people in the background who gets to wave to the camera. That's all I'm asking. And of course, also, if you play an original song and I drum along to it and it becomes a hit, I get a cut. That I got the biggest laugh I've ever got at an open mic, but the talent was just that good that I felt it necessary to put that verbal contract out there just to keep my bases covered. One of these folks will be my cash cow. They will be my nest egg, and I just want to make sure I am not forgotten on their inevitable meteoric rise. Thank you once again, Hayley. Thank you to everyone who came. Particularly thank you to James Crowley, who also stayed until the end. And I didn't really notice until I was about to leave. And I thought, I could have got him on the podcast as well. But that will have to be a future episode. I do believe he has a show coming up in July. He said he'll be coming to at least another open mic before then. So I'll make an effort to catch up with him then. That'll do for me. I am running slightly late to catch up with... What's the time? Why does my computer say it's only gone past 12 o'clock when it's gone past 1 o'clock? Technology, meant to make things easier, etc., blah, blah, blah. I'm almost running late to catch up with someone for tomorrow's episode, and I'm really looking forward to that because this is someone I haven't seen in, I think, actually years. So it should be a really fun chat. And of course, I've got another open mic tonight at the King's Head in Bayswater. The Strokes are playing tomorrow, as well as Interpol. I'm not seeing it. I'll be cooped up in Caffrey Studios working, but it's fine. No hard feelings. It's okay. I've made peace with it. I'm not jealous at all. Thank you all very much for listening. This could very quickly turn into a 45-minute podcast. I've been Roy, and I will hopefully catch you on the next episode. You can find me online, Saddest Night Out, all as one word, and you can reach out to me, saddestnightout@gmail.com. Have a good bank holiday weekend. I'll hopefully catch you during the weekend and not after, but we'll see how it goes. Otherwise, look after yourselves. Take care.